Now, another controversial question.
So many controversial
Yeah, I
questions.
know.
So I've got actually a question for you because you told me you're the nonconformist on the channel.
Today, guys, we have a very special guest known as UnixGuy with over 20 years of experience in cybersecurity. He is currently a senior manager at one of the big four consulting firms in Australia. He has built a massive online presence through his YouTube channel where he helps thousands of people break into the field by providing guidance, resources, and expert insights. If you're wondering how to start a career in cybersecurity, what skills you need, or how AI might impact the industry, you're in the right place. Hey, but thank you very much for joining us today.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's an honor. So we can start. Many people are interested in cybersecurity but don't know where to begin. What would be your advice for complete beginners in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, good question. You're absolutely right. There is so much information out there. On one hand, we have universities that have degrees now, especially targeted at cybersecurity. When I was started, that wasn't a thing. So we only had degree in computer science or computer engineering, the one that I did. There wasn't certainly anything called cybersecurity, but now we have a lot of options. So I guess, like you said, with my online presence, so really I recommend anyone just go on YouTube, type UnixGuy, and I've got videos that will literally take you from zero all the way to landing your first cybersecurity job. But really, if I would summarize it to you and to your audience, it depends on what's your situation in life, right? So let's say if you're 17 years old, you've just finished high school, you don't know what you want to do, university might be a good option for you because you can explore things, you can build relationships, build your character, and yeah, you can get a degree in cybersecurity. That's not a terrible option, but for others who may not have the financial means, or perhaps they come from a different career, in that case, then I definitely recommend they check out my videos where you can start by doing something broad, like the Google Cybersecurity Cert, and perhaps doing things like vulnerability management courses and GRC courses and so on and so forth. So look, the path is of self-study is the one that I recommend, where you do a sequence of courses as recommended. You can combine that with university if you are at the stage of life where this is an option for you. I think that's a summarized version of a really massive topic that we could talk about all day.
I'm curious now, if you were starting from scratch today, how would you approach learning cybersecurity?
Good question. I guess, yeah, that's literally was the title of one of my videos is, if I was starting today, I mean, especially at my age, like I'm not 17 years old again, I guess I would start exactly like I did in the past. Like even when I was 17, I went on the internet, I was interested in hacking, and I went into hacking forums, and things weren't friendly in the past. So there was a culture in hacking forums where if you ask a question, people will swear at you and call you names. It wasn't as it is today. In fact, like I said, if it's exactly as it is today, I will follow the videos. I will start by, like I said, doing something like the Google Cybersecurity Cert, learning about every field. So learn a little bit about GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. Learn a little bit about blue teaming, how to sort of defend against cyber attacks. And yeah, then learn something like penetration testing. So I would start broad general introduction to cybersecurity is what I would personally do. And then from there, in the field of cybersecurity, and to an extent, I guess, programming as well, is experience is king. So all these pieces of paper and exams are good, but really, if you've got experience, if you can demonstrate that experience, and this is king. So I would also, while I'm studying, I would do my best to try to get any job, whether it's cybersecurity or something even adjacent to cybersecurity. Let's say even help desk, customer support, even call center, anything that just gets some experience on your CV or your resume, so that you prove that you can work in a professional environment. This makes it easier for a company to take a chance on you, to allow you to learn. But yeah, if I was really starting over, it will be a case of put your head down for 6 to 18 months, even 20 months, learn as much as you can from the internet, whether it's free or paid resources, and then the sky's the limit. There is an abundance of resources nowadays. in anything to do with like technology, which is a luxury I definitely didn't have when I was starting.
Thank you so much. So inspirational. Funny enough, because my question was, is a degree in cybersecurity necessary, or can someone get into the field through self-study and certifications?
Yeah, look, 100%. Look, it's definitely not necessary. So is it absolutely necessary? No. I have recommended degrees for, like I said, specific cases, especially when I get someone, like I did a talk recently in a high school here in Melbourne, Australia. It's an all-girls high school in an underprivileged area where like it's government assistance type of school. And look, for them, I recommended going to university just because it gets them as young girls out of that closed school environment into the world. You can do different subjects. You can even see if you like cybersecurity or not. So look, it really depends. But as companies and as hiring managers, I've definitely hired so many people without degrees. It's definitely a possibility. But even, look, to be honest, nowadays things are different. Like when I was starting out, if you wanted to do a master's degree, you absolutely must have a bachelor degree. That was a requirement, a logical step. Nowadays, no. So you can have work experience and you can go directly to a master's degree, which is it's really crazy. That wasn't the case in the past. So there are so many things you can do. I know people who have started, they got some experience working in help desk, which doesn't really need degrees, and then they moved within the same company to a cybersecurity role without a degree. I also know some people who, while they're studying, they were doing an online degree just because they like a structure of a classroom. And within that, they got hired even before finishing the degree. So to answer you, it absolutely is not needed. Definitely people are doing it. And you can see that in things like not just cybersecurity, things like data analysis. If you want to be a data analyst or a programmer, people want to see your portfolio. People want to see what you can do more so than your degree. I think the world has changed so much in the last 10 years. In the past, you definitely need a degree to even be allowed inside a company. Now things are different. I think you still need a degree for things like medicine or law or pharmacy. These things absolutely need a degree. But when it comes to IT, marketing, programming, these things, it's more, show me what you can do, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Are there any free or affordable resources you recommend for someone starting out?
100%. I mean, look, the thing with free resources, you can literally learn anything nowadays for free on the internet, right? But this presents a challenge, okay? So if someone is working full-time job and let's say they have a family and they have kids, so their most important thing is time. They don't have enough time. So when you go the free resources, the free training and free courses route, you sacrifice time and quality. So you need to spend a lot of time chasing all the free resources, growing them. You need to be self-driven to go and do them. Whilst with paid courses, the idea is you get you get a curated list of resources for you to save you time, beginning and end, and you're done. Now, as far as free resources, there's a platform called edX, EDX, completely free. You can even do university degrees on it nowadays. So that's something that you can do for free. What else is there for free? All these new platforms like TryHackMe, Hack the Box, Cyber Defenders, they all have a free tier. Now, the problem with that free tier is usually just a basic introduction. And then once you want to get to the premium stuff, you need to pay. But when we talk payment, look, a lot of these platforms, the payment is like $20 per month, which is really a price, almost the price of 2 coffees in Australia. I'm from Australia here. I'm talking to you. What else? There are so many. I'm just trying to think. Like we have Burp Suite. That's for someone who's a programmer and they want to learn software security or application security. Burp Suite, they call it Web Security Academy. This is completely free training. Actually, I've got an entire video titled Free Training. I'm just trying to remember what's in it. From ISC2, there is a certified in cybersecurity. It's free, but I think if you want the piece of paper, you end up paying $50. Cisco Academy has completely free trainings, like 50 or even 100 hours of free training that you can do. Now, like I said, the quality may not be the best, but if someone has all the time in the world and no money, like some of the people who come to my Discord server, they tell me, well, I'm 15 years old, I want to learn. I'm like, okay, so 15 years old, you have so much time, you don't have money. Start learning from free stuff. Finish all the free stuff, then we can talk. So these are all, and like literally just going on YouTube and just typing free training, there's hours upon hours of stuff. You can learn anything. I've personally met programmers who are 17 years old, and they can do stuff better than programmers who have 20 and 30 years of experience. So if you're motivated, if you're actually interested in this field, there is no limit to what you can do.
That's great. Thank you so much. I think one of the best videos in cybersecurity I've seen is from you. And this happened like 1 year ago when I searched cybersecurity on YouTube. Your video showed up first. And I was like, okay, I really like this channel and I will subscribe definitely.
What was the video about? Do you remember?
Kind of hard because, you know, if you're watching all the videos, you don't really remember the first one. Let me just search very fast so that I can see, because I will probably remember the thumbnail. That's what sticks into this one. Top 3 cybersecurity certifications for beginners.
So I've got actually a question for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much information, because you told me you're the nonconformist on the channel. Is your interest mainly programming, or you have an interest in security as well?
I would say security as well. I'm currently studying multimedia and creative technologies, so a little bit of everything, literally. This is my first contact with programming, because before I've never actually studied programming. I was in a philology class in high school, so my background is based on psychology, literature, stuff like that, but I've always had a passion for design. The fact that now I'm capable to code just a little bit gives me a lot of courage. Yeah, and
the fact that you're interested in so many things. Once you work in cybersecurity, you'll realize everyone is similar to you. We all like to do so many things and so many backgrounds. And the good thing is you get to, within the field itself, it's not just one thing we do. There's so many specializations out there. So you'll find something for everyone. So you never know. Maybe by the end of your degree, you will become a cybersecurity professional.
Yeah, who knows? Because in my spare time, I like to do a lot of things, like just watch free courses and try new skills. So
it's so accessible now as well. Like if you really decide to do that, if you say like my challenge in the next 6 months, I'm going to study, let's say, for 2 hours, you will find that like in 6 months time, you've learned so much, because the resources we have now is so condensed and so to the point that you can do a lot in a short time. When I was starting, I remember having books. I even have still some of them in my library. Such massive books, and they are so boring and so detailed. They have so many things that you never need ever. And now instead of these massive books that we have, we've got things like, 2 hours video that will give you literally everything you need. So it's so much better now.
Yeah, that's true. I also had a book for programming, but I feel like it doesn't really help me that much. I would prefer watching a video instead.
I've learned all my programming from books.
Wow.
There was a series called O'Reilly. I don't know if it's
I've heard of it.
Yeah, O'Reilly. That's where I learned everything. And C++. I still remember the book. There was a book called C++ Primer. I've learned all of that. It's a really massive book. And I had it as a reference because I needed to go back to it. I didn't have Stack Overflow or anything. So that was really the reference. But they were good books. But the problem with these books is that it takes hours upon hours of learning, whilst a really short video can give you everything you need so quickly from like the best teachers in the world.
Some people believe cybersecurity is just about hacking. What are some misconceptions about the field?
Yeah, I mean, this misconception is very well alive, and it's something I also believed in the beginning. We thought, well, there is hacking, and yeah, maybe you can secure a system, but it really is hacking. The truth is, being a hacker, or let's say an ethical hacker, where you try to hack into a company, find weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and then help them fix it. This is a really small part of cybersecurity. It is so big. Like, I'll give you just a small scenario. It really takes, let's say, one penetration tester, one ethical hacker to break into a company. But on the defensive side, we need teams upon teams. So we need people who specialize in software security. So they work with programmers and they do secure code reviews. That's a specialty. And then we have people who work in what we refer to as security operations center. So they do monitoring. So they're constantly monitoring attacks, analyzing them, responding to them. That's usually, I guess, the largest number of people. So that's a huge part of cybersecurity. And even within that, there is sub-specialization. Some people create detection use cases. Some people work in like threat intelligence. Some people do digital forensics. So they analyze hard drives after the hack has happened to just see how it went through, what really went down. There is also governance, risk, and compliance, which I've been pulled towards at the later stages of my career. GRC is basically you need to ensure that the company is following best practices, best practice standards. For example, a bank, in order for the bank to be allowed to deal with your credit card numbers and store financial data, they need to basically have, let's call it, good security for summary. So they need to align with the standards. Just like, let's say, a building, you need fire exits and fire alarms. Those are compliance checks. Same thing with security. You need to be really taking security serious. So for that, you need an army of people. So really, the ethical hacking is a really small part of what we do. And yeah, lots of people coming to the field, they start the first job. I'm like, all right, where's the hacking? And then it's an Excel spreadsheet. I'm like, this sucks. So yeah, there's a lot to be done. Hacking is definitely there. Some people, all they do is hacking. Some people specialize in malware. Some people even specialize in hacking mobile devices. So you can really go deep in that, but it's not the only thing. So it's a lot bigger.
We also got a question in the chat. Carl asks, how should I start with cybersecurity and can I use Parrot OS? Also funny enough again, because my question was, what programming languages do you recommend?
So Parrot OS and all of these. So, okay, we started with Unix, a bit of history. Unix, where I come from, is actually a set of standards. So it's a piece of paper that says how an operating system should be built. And there was an implementation of this by a company called Sun Microsystems, called Solaris, and then IBM AIX. It's a bit of history. Later, I think in the 90s, some guy called Linus, he made Linux kernel, which is a kernel. Linux is not Unix. It's similar, adjacent, but it's not. And with that, now we have two main distros, Debian and Red Hat, and which is like RPM and the other one. So this one, Parrot OS, is just a distribution of Linux. To answer you, if you just want to get into cybersecurity, you don't need to stick to an OS. This is a bit controversial, but like I use a Mac. You can use whatever you want. And to practice what you can do, there was in the past, we tell you, well, download VMware and have a virtual machine like you can practice on a virtual machine on top of your laptop. Now, even that's not really needed. A cheaper way that I found is actually to spin a cloud instance on something like Amazon AWS or Microsoft Azure or even Google Cloud, install your OS there and practice your heart out. It's a lot cheaper to pay for subscription with AWS than to buy a big laptop. So yeah, to answer you can use any operating system you want. You don't need to go fancy and try to go really fancy. I used to do stupid things. There was called scientifically, there was a distribution of Linux that takes 5 days to install. And it's not 5 days because you click install and you wait. No. You need to compile every library. So it takes 5 days of work to install. That was stupid and not necessary. You definitely don't need that. So yeah, if you want to get into cybersecurity, as I said earlier in the beginning of the chat, go to YouTube, type UnixGuy, just follow what the videos tell you. It will save you a lot of time and heartache. As far as programming languages, the truth is, again, because we said cybersecurity is really broad, you can have a full cybersecurity career and never have to write a line of code in your life. It's not actually necessary. It depends on what you do. Let's say if you're in GRC, you don't need programming unless you automate things. We'll get to that. Even some of the blue teaming people, just looking at incidents and responding to them, you may not need to write a line of code. So program is actually not a must. So much of cybersecurity doesn't require programming. Now, if you want to program, I guess lots of people now start with Python because it's accessible, it's easy, there's so many easy libraries. Like I said, I started with C and C++ and then Perl, which I don't recommend anyone to play with. It's absolutely terrible language. But once you learn one programming language, it becomes easy to learn any other programming language. As a, let's say, even penetration tester, ethical hacker, like one of the most technical branches of cybersecurity. Sometimes you don't need to write the code from the beginning to end. Sometimes you just need to read the code, understand it, change a little bit of it, just see how things work. So that's an option for you. So let's say you know Python very well and the code is written using something else. It's not overly hard to kind of guess what the code is doing and try to debug it. If you want to specialize in application security, then yes, you need to be really, that's your bread and butter. But as a starting point, Python is really easy and accessible with a little bit of help. You can hit the ground running. Is it your priority as someone who's getting into cybersecurity? Not in the beginning. Which programming languages have you learned in your degree?
C#, C++, HTML and CSS, recently JavaScript, and I started by myself with Python.
Oh, no way. So you did what I did. So C++ and C#. I had project on .NET 2003. It was really new. It's good. I think so with what you've learned now, to me, you actually have more programming than what most cybersecurity jobs need. So it will be really easy for you to pick up what they need. Yeah, it's because what we do is not really a programming job. We're not programmers in cybersecurity. We're not programmers at all. Now, some people will be automation specialists, we call them. They call themselves engineers, but really what they do is they will work in a security operations center, but they really take the requirement and they automate things. This is not a cybersecurity job, but they work with cybersecurity professionals. The problem with the cybersecurity world is that the titles are a bit messed up. So they'll have a security engineer as a title, but they don't really do security. They're just automation specialists, as the more accurate title. So yeah, with what you've learned now, more than enough. Now, if you want to get into like I said, the reverse engineering or application security, sure, you might need to learn more. But if you can do C++, C#, I think you're ready.
Wow. Okay, good to know. What are the top 3 skills someone should develop to succeed in cybersecurity?
Yeah, really good question. I mean, skills, look, self-study is, in my opinion, the most important one. So no matter what job you get and no matter what stage in your career is at, you will always need to kind of study in some way or form. Even after so many years, I still find myself needing to learn. Like, for example, I was working with the bank early, like late last year and early this year in the UK, and they use Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure Cloud, and they also use Google Cloud. I haven't really worked with Google Cloud much, so I had to learn a little bit. It didn't take a lot of time, but I needed to be flexible enough to just learn a little bit. Now, my colleagues, they don't learn anything, especially the ones who've been in the job for so long. It's just something that you need to accept and maybe enjoy learning new things. So really be able to self-study is really important, no matter what the job is. Let's say you get a job in whatever, security analyst or a programmer, whatever it is, the ability to learn on the job and even after work to spend an hour or so learning, I think will take you so far. Now, as far as skills, especially for someone starting at, I think just having an open mind and not focusing too much on one thing, especially at the beginning. Like, try to broaden your perspective, learn security analysis or blue teaming, learn GRC, learn vulnerability management. You don't have to go so deep, but get a basic understanding. And so that when you get the job, you at least are flexible enough to go deep. And then pick something and go as deep as you like. Whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. Let's say you pick something really specific like mobile application hacking. It's very small niche, not many jobs out there in that regard, and the need is really small, but it's a complicated piece. If that's what you like, suit yourself, go as deep as you like later. But in the beginning, just having that open mind and be open to just exploring the different specialization. I think it will set you up for success later.
Another question that we got from Carl is, how is the job market for cybersecurity?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because if you go on the internet, people have different opinions. I'll tell you the truth about the job market and the truth about people who talk about the job market. Look, IT professionals are not economy experts, and recruitment companies are not economy experts, and economy experts are not economy experts. So let me explain that. In 2008, we had the global financial crisis. Have you heard of it, the GFC? Yeah, so it was a really global financial crisis. Started in the US with the collapse of the bank, and it trickled down to all over the world. And nobody predicted that. No one was talking about it. So maybe we went retrospect and like, there was one guy talking. There is always one guy talking. But broadly speaking, people didn't predict that. Okay, so this is the problem. Even the experts have a hard time analyzing the economy because the economy and the job market is just so complicated. There's so many things that influence the economy and hiring. There's, I don't know, oil prices, stock market, politics, climate, everything, right? So making a broad statement and saying economy is good, economy is bad, job market good, job market bad, I think is a bit not accurate. We need to be really a bit more nuanced. The truth is, seeing the job market in the early 2000s, that we had something called the dot-com bubble. There were so many IT companies, and then they all collapsed. And if you look through old news and TV, they were like, okay, there's no more IT jobs. Everything is going to go. The internet is fad, is going to disappear. Nothing happened. And then global financial crisis in 2008, no jobs, everything bad. It was fine. Like as far as IT jobs are concerned, yeah, finance and stuff were influenced, but we were fine. What happened later? Like let's say 2016, 2017. If you even like search in Reddit, like all just 2016, people were saying the job market was bad, economy bad, everything bad. Now we look at this year and we say, oh no, 2016 was good. So truth is, job market now, it's actually fine. Everything's fine. Nothing is collapsing. Nothing is running away. The truth is, it's just not easy today. But it also wasn't easy 20 years ago. It wasn't easy 10 years ago. Anything that's worthwhile is not easy. If you want an easy job, you will sacrifice quality, right? There are easy jobs, you can get them, but they are low quality. If you want a good job, like a cybersecurity job or a programming job, you need to work hard, and there will be competition. It's just anything that's nice, everyone will compete for it. So it's just the reality, yeah? So you need to accept that it's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take competition. But if you actually enjoy it, you will spend the time and you will be fine. So if someone is starting today, you will face the same problem I faced in the past. You probably have it easier now because there is more information. So economy is fine. Don't listen to people who tell you there is doom and gloom and the world is ending, because that's what people say every year and nothing happens.
What's the biggest mistake you see on cybersecurity resumes?
So I see, I guess, two mistakes. I guess the first one is people focus too much on multiple choice exams. I think they go on Reddit and they go on the internet, and what happens is people who give advice on the internet are beginners giving advice to other beginners. So they both don't know what they're talking about. So they spend so much time on multiple choice exams like CompTIAs and CCNAs and whatnot without getting any practical experience. So in the interview, when I ask them any question about things they have in their CV, they can't answer because they just memorized everything without practice. So 99% of the mistakes can be solved if you actually focus on hands-on practical lab-based certifications, the ones in my videos and elsewhere. So I think that's the biggest mistake, is too much time and money on multiple choice things that don't teach you anything and gives you bad habits, because you start to think that the job is about memorizing which port number does what. Well, that's not really what the job is. You can Google that if you really want to. The second big mistake, it's not really a mistake. I think it's more of something to do to improve, is for example, they have a section called skills, and under skills, they have bullet points. Like, let's say you said, C++, C#. So what they will do, they say skills, C++, bullet point, C#. The problem with that is when someone write that, I don't know what's their skill level with C++. So when someone says C++, so what did you do with C++? Did you type one line of code that says hello world? Or did you write 5,000 lines of code of, big compiler? So tell me what you know with the skills. So instead of saying skills C#, have a section called job experience or even projects, and tell me, I don't know, built a ticketing system using C++, use these libraries to achieve this outcome. This way, it's a story. You're telling me what you've done with the tool. Now I know what you know, right? Same thing with cybersecurity. They'll have a bullet point that says Python. Well, what do you know about Python? Are you a Python programmer? What did you do? So instead, tell me, I don't know, configured stock alerts using Python, etc., or created detection use cases using Splunk instead of having a bullet point that tells me Splunk, right? So these are the things. And I've got a resume template that you can download for free. It's like just go unixguy.com/free and you can get the same CV I use. But basically, more or less, it's that. But really, even this mistake is fine. It's the first one is the biggest one, which is just CV full of multiple choice exams. No one will look at that.
Thank you very much for bringing this up, because I'm always about LinkedIn and how its importance in applying for jobs. But my question is, how many skills do you think should be displayed in that section?
On LinkedIn?
Yeah, it's a controversial question somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why people have controversies around that. LinkedIn, I think people exaggerate the value of these platforms. I've always used LinkedIn just to search and apply for jobs. I never used it to make it my own resume. So I don't have any skills on my LinkedIn. I don't think it makes a difference. I don't go on a candidate and look at their LinkedIn to see the skills. I usually look at the CV and see where they've worked, what training they've done. That's what I look for. So I'd say I think LinkedIn is it's overhyped. I don't think it's like the king of it's a social media platform more than anything else. I use it to search for jobs. So search for jobs, find jobs. That's what I use it for. I don't worry too much about displaying skills. I guess you can display as much as you want. Maybe recruiters can search and find you that way. But in my experience, experience is king. Let's say you said you like programming. Putting programming projects on your CV and your LinkedIn is a lot more valuable than putting bullet point of skills. If you said, I created this big project, I did this and that, and you have a GitHub portfolio, that's a lot more valuable than, bullet point skills on LinkedIn, in my views.
Now, another controversial question.
So many controversial questions.
Yeah, I know. Do you think AI will replace few jobs in this field?
Yes, I think it will replace few jobs in every sector, but I think even replace is probably not the best word. I think things will continue to evolve. Just like the internet has, eliminated a lot of jobs that we used to have in the past, it also created new jobs, right? So things will continue to evolve. If someone was a typewriter in the 1970s, their job doesn't exist anymore because, we type on laptops. But does this mean there is no other jobs that we can do? I think technology will continue to evolve. We'll always have different jobs to do. However, I do think AI today, and that's my personal, it's not backed by science. I think AI today is what the internet was in 1997. Still new, still no one knows what to do with it. It's overhyped. It hasn't peaked yet. I think in the future, it will continue to improve. Is it gonna replace cybersecurity professionals? I don't think so, because the problems that we deal with we're not constantly working to stop the biggest sophisticated hacker in foreign government. That is not the job. We're still fighting with companies to install patches, configure their firewall properly, install two-factor authentication. We're actually dealing most of the time with basic problems, not really sophisticated problems. And the people who actually use AI really well are hackers. Hackers are really quick. They've used it. They automated their attacks. They're a lot faster than the business world. Is a bit slow, a bit clunky. Regulations, governments, things are a bit more complicated. So, yeah, for the next decades, I think we will be fine. However, you need to learn AI just like any new technology. Learn how to use it, leverage it, but don't be obsessed with it. Now, I see universities now, they have degrees in AI. I think that's a bit stupid. I mean, unless you want to do research or PhD and you just want to be a scientist, sure, but you don't need to spend money and have a degree in AI. Continue your job. If you want to be a programmer, be a really good programmer where AI becomes part of your workflow, but it's not going to replace you, in my views. It will replace some things. If something can be automated, it will be with AI and without AI. But it's not gonna, all of a day we'll wake up one day and boom, all jobs disappear. It's not like the movies.
What keeps you motivated to stay in cybersecurity after 20 years of experience?
Yeah, what keeps me really motivated is, at this point, the relationships, the people that I work with. So in consulting, like I don't view clients as companies. It's the people who work for the companies. So I know the managers with their names. I have coffees with them. We talk about the problems. There is always complicated problems to solve. Usually the problems that I deal with at this point aren't really technical problems, mainly people problems, organizing teams, hiring the right person, filling in the right role, having the right structure, the right process. So yeah, my job has evolved more into advice, leadership, management. But I've always loved this field. I always like technology. I like the change. I like to learn new things. And yeah, just seeing how much this field has grown. We went from not having a security team to having one person in the security team to now having big teams. So it's really good. It created so many opportunities. A lot of the jobs that exist today didn't exist even 5 years ago. So I think it's exciting, and I still think we are early days. I think it will continue to evolve, and it's really exciting field to be with. I also get bored with traditional jobs like even like accounting or market, like this keeps me entertained because just like you, I have so many interests. So I think it's the change, the people is what really kept me.
Good answer. We also have another question from Kamil. He asks, what should be the roadmap of cybersecurity?
Same answer I've given you, Carl, 3 questions ago.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube, type UnixGuy, and there is a video titled 6 Months Roadmap. Follow that one. Now watch the video to the end. I say some people will finish it in 6 months, some people 18 months or more. So putting your head down and studying for that period of time will definitely get you to your goal. That's really the roadmap. It's summarized there with resources, with even the CV is ready for you. And every day I get messages on YouTube comments, Discord, everywhere telling me I've got a job here, I've got my job. So it works for people worldwide. So there's no reason why it will not work for you.
Well, these were my questions. Thank you very much for sharing your insights with us today. Your advice is incredibly valuable. And if you guys want to learn more from UnixGuy, make sure to check out his YouTube channel. That's in the description below. Thanks again, and hope to have you back in the future. Who knows?
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for accepting it. Have a nice day.
See you.
See ya.
You too.
Bye.